If you're telling me 50 of them are in La La Land, the other 50 want the truth, we got a problem in the Midwest of
We've got a problem everywhere because you go to California or someplace like or Minnesota.
you won't even recognize the church.
Well, it would all be one way. They'll all say, "Well, did he, what did he do? Did he grab some boob? Did he, fingers, or what happened?" They want to know the details because there's a degree of sexual predation. No, it's an abandonment of authority. It's an abuse of the authority that's given to these guys, and it's a predator type of thing.
Sure
it's an
it is.
abuse, and this is an animal and they should never, I believe, ever be allowed to say a mass again. I'm sorry, death penalty. I'm saying death penalty on that stuff.
Well, they may be, just with Father Shire, and he wasn't doing any of that stuff. He was just interested in the money. And he talks about being before Christ, and he was condemned. He goes, "I wasn't a bad priest." Probably wasn't. Just concerned about the money.
Right. Well, he wasn't a good priest then.
Think about these other guys that cross this line that are predators. This is, you guarantee you're filling out an application for a place in hell. You're filling out the application. You go, well, it depends on how, degenerate you're going to be as to where you're going to be. Well, no problem. You just...
I could get a lot worse than that.
Yeah, I can get worse than that.
You mean if I do that, I get a better room?
Yeah, sure.
I think there may be some sort of reward system there.
Condition of the church where they cover that up. They don't come to the aid and support of Our Lady of America or the people that represent that thing. They come with a visceral attitude that I'm better than you, and that you're out, I'm in.
You're not doing it right. I am.
Right.
And I got that all the time in Rome City. I had all these, stringent Catholics, these people with so many sticks up their butt. It was crazy. You're not doing it right. This isn't how they do it at Lourdes. This isn't how they do it in other places. I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rome City, Indiana. This is not Lourdes, France. I said, I don't have any help coming in through here. I don't know what you're expecting.
No, really,
I really don't know what you're expecting.
His position in terms of taking over after Sister Mildred is unprecedented because normally it's a religious or somebody in that matrix. It's normally not, even with Juan Diego, the bishops took over.
He was a great shortstop for the Mets.
Juan Diego, yeah. Did you see that game?
Yeah, well, he weighed about 160, couldn't hit his weight. Juan Diego.
So here we are at a juncture of looking at the condition of the church and the different people that are commenting on it. We talked a little bit about the lightning and the strikes and the stuff. So we have very clear signal graces.
These are not coincidences.
No.
This is not. I'm sorry.
I think you woke up the other day and that was one of the first things in your mind. That
well, it was just like, it's just like it has to be announced. And we've been trying to put this out there. We've been criticized for it. People said I should die and all like that. Yeah, I will die someday. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but right now my mother's 100 years old. She's praying to die, and she can't die. Too much good stuff to do.
Poor Rita, she wants to go.
She's got some great stories. Oh my gosh.
Poor Rita is suffering. I think she suffers for her family, and that this is her pitching in because our Lord does guarantee that, if we do what we're supposed to be doing and that we pray for our families, that He will honor to bring those that are left behind to heaven. So our Lord's mission of salvation is extremely deep and beautiful. I wanted to mention this one thing, Larry. I came across this as the last minute. Anne Catherine Emmerich was.
Oh yeah, the poem of the man God.
Well, no, she's different. Anne Catherine Emmerich.
Oh, that's different.
She was a German nun that suffered, and she wrote the Life of Christ.
Who did man God?
That was Maria Valtorta.
Oh, okay. Emmerich. Okay, so a lot of people thought Emmerich.
Pope Benedict canonized her.
Okay.
As a saint, but she wrote 4 books. Clems Brentano was the guy that wrote for her. He had a writing career.
Okay.
He had talent, but he sat by Anne Catherine Emmerich, and he wrote different things that Emmerich had said about the life of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of her stuff is really provocative. For example, Anne Catherine Emmerich was the one that said that there was a story of Jesus being washed in a tub of water from a family that they would rob people and stuff. But the mother had a baby.
These were neighbors of Mary and Joseph.
Well, they were actually coming to go into Egypt, and they stopped at this house.
They were on tour, as we say.
They're on tour. And so that she brought him into her home, and she could see that Jesus was extraordinary.
She felt it.
And Blessed Mother says, "Can I get some water to wash my son?" He said, "Yeah, get the water, wash the son." And then the lady said, "Can I wash my son in the water you washed your son in?" Her son had lesions,
right?
All right,
had skin problems,
and then washed him in the water.
That was all in the mystical city of God, too.
No, this was Anne Catherine Emmerich.
You've told this story before.
I told it before. Yeah,
right.
That was Anne Catherine Emmerich.
Well, I get confused.
But at any rate, I know. But the mother said to Blessed Mother, "Will you remember my son and pray for him?" She said, "I will." So at the crucifixion, Christ is in the middle.
The thieves on either side. Yeah.
So Our Lady is praying for this guy, and Our Lady finally said, "The one that confessed Christ,
right,
was a little boy that washed in the water when he was a baby."
And that's when Jesus said, "You will see me in my kingdom," or something like that, whatever he said.
So I'm thinking, what a beautiful story. So our Lord is grabbing.
It's all the way through.
All the way through. But here's something that she said, Anne Catherine Emmerich. You remember the Benedict made her.
I gotta go take this one.
Okay.
You could eat the junior.
Okay. Pope Benedict made her a saint, and she says this: when the gates were swung open by the angels, one beheld before him a struggling, blaspheming, mocking, howling, and a lamenting throng. I saw that Jesus spoke some words to the soul of Judas. That's interesting because we had talked about, is it possible that Judas was extracted from his being thrown into hell or being brought into hell? But she doesn't go any further. She says some of the angels forced that multitude of evil spirits to prostrate themselves before Jesus. In other words, some of the good angels forced a multitude of evil spirits to prostrate themselves before Jesus. For all had to acknowledge and adore him. This was for them the most terrible torment. A great number were chained in a circle around others, who were in turn bound down by them. In the center was an abyss of darkness. Lucifer was cast into it, chained, and the thick black vapor mounted up around him. This took place by divine decree, and I heard that Lucifer, if I don't mistaken what I've seen, she says, Emmerich says, will be freed again for a while, 50 to 60 years before the year 2000 A.D. Now, Emmerich was I think back in the 1800s. I think she was born in 1774, and I think that but I think she lived to the early 1812 or something like that. She had the full stigmata. She says that the year 2000 that there will be loosed before the year 2000. I've forgotten many of the other dates that were told me. Some of the demons are to be freed before Lucifer in order to chastise and tempt mankind, and I think that some are let loose now in our own day in the 1800s, and others will be freed shortly after our time. She says, it's impossible for me to relate all that was shown me. It is too much. I cannot reduce it to order. I cannot arrange it. I am also so dreadfully sick when I try to speak of these things. They rise up before my eyes, and the sight is enough to make one to die. In other words, even experiencing this thing prevents her from articulating what they mean or the dates that were given her. So this is a suffering soul, Anne Catherine Emmerich, and she suffered all of her life as a religious. And was Pope Benedict XVI during his reign as a pope that canonized her as a saint for the church. So these are the kinds of things that we extract, that we extract on behalf of, our presentations. And so we take from a lot of different sources that have plausible support from those in the church that represent it. So I don't know if, there's going to be a little bit of a gap in here. I'd like to wait to read this other thing. There had been in the news, we'll deal with this. It's been in the news about, especially in this day and age, with Charlie Kirk and some of the evangelicals. I just got done reading.
Oh, I'm back. Did I miss anything?
Well, a little bit.
I can hear you from the other room.
Okay. It's Ann Catherick Emmerich says, I saw that Jesus spoke some words to the soul of Judas as Jesus went into hell. Now, she doesn't articulate what was said there, but there was an interaction, which to me is like a light, going into the darkness. And but she doesn't expound on that. She says a great number of these evil spirits were chained, and the good angels made certain of them get on their knees before Christ as he's in hell. And she says that I heard that Lucifer, if I don't mistaken, will be freed again for a while, 50 to 60 years before the year 2000 A.D. She's I've forgotten many other dates. This is a woman that was born in 17.
So if they started their 100-year reign in the 1920s, we're manifesting.
Basically.
Right. Let's come out of this. So but this goes to how the slope has come down. So with the John Paul II, the Great, in Poland, a lot of you people don't know, there was a guy named Lech Walesa, Walesa. His first name was Lech, Lech. He was like a Labor Party leader, and he was the guy that was standing up to the communists in Warsaw. The people there had such a bedraggled life. They were so oppressed. They were so put down. The government was taking all the money. They didn't have bread in many instances. And John Paul II came from Poland.
The end of World War II, the communists took over. It was crazy. They gave Poland to the Russians.
Yeah, it was just so dark. But there was a lot of blowback. The government was being very, very hard on the workers. They were trying to, get freedom and all like this. They were fighting for this. And John Paul II, having been a compatriot of theirs, another fellow countryman, he stood up
with them
in the world. He stood up in a world. Pius X did not during World War II.
No.
Okay.
So that was the World War II would be Pius the
12?
12th.
Was he 12 or 10?
He was 12. The 11th was a good pope. He was going to out Hitler. Pius the 12th was.
That was 12th, right?
Pius the 12th didn't stand up for either the Jews or the Christians, Catholics.
He just tried to protect Vatican City that it didn't get bombed.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't come out with his authority like these guys are doing now, using it as a cudgel.
I read the book
against others.
I read the book. He didn't do it. But then immediately when the book came out a year and a half ago, the Catholic Church said no. And they gave him a clean slate. But no, he died because he should have done what John Paul II did. You go to Germany, you stand before Hitler, and you tell him you got two choices: you can kill me, or hey, here's your time, John. Here's your time, Pius the 12th, to stand up.
And they tried to kill him.
Pius the 12th?
No, John Paul.
I'm sure they tried to kill him because he was going to stand up. They didn't know what
he took a bullet, and but they tried to kill him for his work there. So he stood up, and he took one for the team, so to speak.
They shot him, I think, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
They got him.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know how the guy even survived that. How do you survive that? And that was early on in his pontificate.
Mary held him. And so he ended up taking that bullet that was, I guess, the most dangerous one. He put it in the crown.
Oh, the most dangerous one? I was by the heart or something?
I guess it was but one of them's used in the.
We're all going to die. This was your chance to,
Yeah, but in the moment, you've got one chance to make the right decision. And too often these guys have been not. So John Paul II goes in, he stands up, and he takes the manly way through this, and he stands with the people.
Yeah.
And basically, told them, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah, he did, right.
And so he did that. But then after that, after Benedict XVI, which was Paul II,
Because he was the
period.
Secretary of State under John Paul II.
Right, and he was his guy.
And when they got in there, it was in the when they got in there, they said they thought they could make some changes. Well, the cesspool that surrounded them was
Right.
so enormous that they said we couldn't do it.
Right.
They couldn't take an axe to it. They just simply had to work around
The
it.
damage had already been
Yeah.
done from previous decades
Yeah.
beforehand. They couldn't get
Not
the guys
repairable.
out of the administration in the Vatican out because it was too entrenched.
Yeah, Joseph Toraya told John Paul II, "You're being poisoned," because Lenny Saransky had a protocol and all those things to send because they said we thought he had Parkinson's disease. Toraya says there's no sense of bringing this. He doesn't have Parkinson's disease. They're poisoning him. I said, would you say to? He said, Joseph said, I told the Pope they're poisoning you. So what did the Pope say? He said, who am I? What do I eat? What don't I
Right,
eat?
yeah.
You know, where am I? They're surrounding
Just
me.
kill me.
Yeah.
He's like,
Just
just
kill me.
kill me.
Sure.
You know, basically,
It's a-
don't
was
tease
that-
me.
was
Just
that
do
bad?
it. Right. After a while,
So-
it gets to be too belabored. You keep threatening her to do it. Just do it. But so you have this whole period of this kind of way of thinking about things politically in the world and how to help set the tone of the discussions. So that goes on. And then Francis comes in. Total change. So all this diabolical stuff coming in.
Yeah, and the lightning. Francis comes in, and the lightning. You know,
Yeah.
all this
Well, there's the signs and wonders for you, but he comes in and all of a sudden there's this like reversion going back to doing these endorsements and playing along with these communists and socialists and other stuff like that
Oh, sure, he's
in
playing
one
along
world
with them.
order.
Absolutely.
Because who he made the deal with before he got the chair with the Obama group and the one world order 2 years before he
They
ended up
said
taking the seat.
Francis's parents were socialists, and they had a communist bent. So he grew up under it.
Mm-hmm.
He might have even been a plant from the communist end of it because they
Well, he was
planted.
with the
many-
one world order. It was all with Obama. They picked him. They wanted to have a
that
communist
this-
socialist.
He never
This
was
is all
Roman
part of their
Catholic,
design to
right?
bring down
Absolutely.
Western world.
Right. It's hard to.
Obama doesn't love this country. He loves himself and the thought of himself. You know,
Well,
what has he built? What has Obama built?
Oh, nothing.
Right.
According to Mark Taylor, he's going to be stripped of his presidency. Now we'll see whether or not that prophecy comes through.
Oh, these court martials and stuff.
Well,
Well,
it can't happen through the federal government because you're not going to get any justice. It's too rotted. But if these things are as a matter of treason, I think that takes on a different complexion. That's like an act of war.
and Trump now has the reason now to not just go at it himself, but interested media type people, journalists, not really the Nick Shirleys. You need guys who are deeper than that, but maybe even bringing Mike McCormick in to help narrate
about it, yeah.
how this investigation should go.
Has he got the balls to do it?
I don't know because I don't know if the church is going to come around to him with a love bomb
Right.
kind of thing.
There's a little something.
You know, what
happening.
what matters more, the truth or the comfort in these things? And it's a terrible position to be in to try to choose between, you know, comfort and living versus the truth
No, you're right.
and
Yeah,
risking
you're getting
the
right in
penalty
line
of
of
death.
fire, yeah.
And death, I got to tell you, is not that bad when it comes down to that kind of decision making.
So we should
because
not,
you got to protect your soul.
we should not fear death.
Do not fear death.
Why do you say
death?
that?
Death is not a bad thing. I mean, and I don't want people to go out and
Kill
bring it on.
themselves.
But you are responsible to live your full life as best you can.
Okay.
That is your deal you made when you took your first breath. Is go be something.
Right.
You know, don't hold back. Go fly. Do things.
Right.
Exalt me by your life.
Sure.
That's how you do. People who sit around playing video games and stuff like that are basically a drain on the spiritual
Right.
energy that goes on. People got to go out and build things, do things, interact with people, have small talk conversations. Those are the things that bond
key.
societies and communities together.
Right.
Small talk. But we don't have that anymore because we have telephones and we
Interact with
deal
machines.
in 8-word text exchanges. That's how the world goes.
Yeah.
It's how it's adjusted itself for convenience. But when you sit down with somebody and actually have a conversation, what do they usually say? Oh, so nice to finally speak with you.
Was that the guy about company, that comedian, that Italian guy? Because years ago, people would come, like your parents would buy like a crumb cake,
Yeah.
and they would keep it in case company came.
Right.
It was a big, oh, we got company.
You got to have something on hand.
So
right. I remember
this
that.
day and age, somebody knocks at the door and everybody hides.
Unless it's the Uber Eats guy.
Yeah.
You know, bringing lunch.
Nobody wants to talk to anybody. Go,
Right.
Did somebody?
Oh, God. Get
talk
time to go.
to this?
Act like we're not here.
So it's changed drastically. But I remember a company coming over and the kids, you know.
The pop-in visit.
Yeah, and you'd have popcorn and the parents would
Hey,
be
your
talking.
phone was busy. I thought I'd come on by and say hi.
Yeah. Well, Father Havel
That
used
used to happen a lot. People would say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, your phone was busy. I just thought I'd come on by and say hi."
Right. Right.
This is like you've
Did
never
you have
going
a
to
party line? Did you have the party line?
My mom grew up with one, but I knew people that were down the road from me did have a party line. They had like 3 houses on it. And it was kind of fun when we have sleepovers to listen in.
Wow.
You know, because there's a cute girl was in one of the other houses on the party line.
Yeah.
So we'd listen to her talking to her friends. And I think they knew we were listening in, so they were trying to.
Yeah, embellish the story.
But we didn't have any speakerphones. So Mike would have his hand over the mouthpiece, and we'd all be like up to the ear. So there's like 5 stupid kids with their ears all together trying to hear what Becky's having to say on her party line.
That was
Yeah, I remember party
That was
lines.
before these smartphones. That was the only phone. 6 kids listening in.
That was before the telephone company grew up. I mean, there was a big changeover in the 70s as far as technology.
Yeah.
People don't understand. It used to be, you know, we used to cook our own food.
Think of it,
back
yeah.
in the day.
You could actually make a hamburger instead of ordering it in. You know?
They're both okay by me, actually. A burger sounds pretty good. But, you know, again, I want to elucidate. Alex and I aren't doing this because we feel good about it. We want to talk about this is because we are convinced that all of the evidence, all of these Bible verses, all of these prophecies that have happened, all of the actions that have happened, and the outcomes, it only points to one thing, and that is what Revelation has said and what we're talking about the end times.
We're living it.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not so bad because it's a chance for correction that comes in this period, and whether or not we have the stones to self-correct, you know, in a way that the church won't do for itself, and then what are we doing? You know, what are we supposed to do when you see one of your institutions failing right before you? You're going to sit there and keep throwing, you know, credit to it and giving it more to work with. You have to say, you know, hey, honey, I think you got a problem. You know, we need to talk about this. You got to have an intervention with these folks. And I think that's what's going to happen now with Donald Trump basically calling out these bad actors who have been in the Vatican, trying to take on the world stage. And what has happened with the Vatican? They have actually joined forces not just with socialists, but with the Islamists.
Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
Muslims.
Yeah.
They've got a prayer room in the library.
It's crazy.
They're saying it's out of convenience. I got to tell you, folks, the population growth in Rome, Italy right now is not among Italians. You know who's got the biggest population growth right now?
Is who?
Muslims. They just crossed over from Africa in great numbers, and they all flocked to Rome, one particular area. Why did they do that? What if DEI and equity and inclusion is spreading them all around? Why don't they do that? No, they want to habitate near their own people so they can start to still have some power and some ability to hold rank on things with their culture. We don't have a race problem. We have a culture problem.
I brought this thing, and we've shown it before, but it shows the cross, it shows the Star of David, and it shows a crescent moon. And the Catholic Church is promoting this stuff. Even locally, they promote it. They have a special prayer that we all get together and sing Kumbaya. And the 2 legitimate religions are the Old Testament, which basically contains the New Testament in terms of what to expect in terms of the Messiah, and then which is the Jewish. All right, there's the one. You got the New Testament that we believe that Christ is the Messiah, the Son of God.
Right.
But they've included this other because they're so what do they call it?
Monotheism.
Monotheism.
No,
one God. But
they say we're all, you know,
all the same.
Praising. That's not.
We ain't all the same.
By definition, it's not the same. Allah is not God by definition.
Plus, their definition of what they want to do is to destroy Judaism and Christianity. In other words, the basis, the Bible. They want to destroy it.
Yeah, but they're nice on their own. You
Yeah,
know,
until they take control.
Well,
And
until
once-
they get in a group. Here's my joke about that. You get a Catholic man on his own, you know, he'll be tough. He'll fight, you know, in business and stuff like that in the field. No, you're not going to do that. I'm going to stand up for myself. Okay, you put three of them in a room, and they get really passive because they get unsure about whether or not they should act out because now they got another fellow church member there, and they start holding back and thinking, well, maybe we should. And then as a group, they say, oh, it's better we don't do anything. You know, they mollify and they capitulate and they give in. When you get one Muslim together, just as nice as can be. Oh, baby, how you doing? You know, and then you get three of them together, they become a gang, and then they try to put you down. I've seen this has happened to me a lot of times.
Has it?
Oh yeah, they want to gang up on you and act like they are the authority, and what you have to say doesn't matter, and is untruthful, and that I've been lied to. And I've had open discussions with them many times, but the effect goes differently. And this is what Muslims do in major cities around the world right now. They're trying to command authority over the moral code. And so what they're doing is they're grouping together at times of prayer outside of major churches and trying to take over the facilities and in the public. And right now they've got a prayer room at the Vatican, which seems to be like inviting the assassin into your
Well, it
home.
makes sense because if those that are in charge, Francis, who's now dead, who ain't in charge of nothing, and this Leo, if they want to destroy the church, that's a good way to do it.
You bring in to undercut
in.
the foundation. Within a year, there will be public praying in St. Peter's Square. The Muslims will be having prayer in St. Peter's
think so?
Square.
Yeah.
Yep, it's on its way. They're already lining up. They're going to do it, and I don't know if the Swiss Guard's going to have enough people to stop it.
Maybe they don't. And if you got a pope that really isn't legitimate, he's inviting them to do it.
Right.
And so,
The
if you have a
symbolism of
pope
that
that's
is going to be
willing to
tremendous.
allow China to choose your bishops, that's communism uniting with the Islamic craziness.
Right.
That's a good mix to destroy things.
To help undercut and diminish the strength or the credibility of the church in general and the Catholic Church in particular.
Yeah. Well,
So they want to
Lucifer's done a
diminish
good-
this Jesus thing.
Lucifer's done a good job in attempting for the complete destruction. We'll see with Blessed Mother, with the Holy Spirit.
Well, this diabolical confusion is hitting us from so many different points.
Crazy, isn't it?
And that when you're in the middle, all this, and then you get this huge impact that's going on. But back to the Trump thing. I think the Trump discussion that he's opened up right now is going to lead the way to more truth, and I think it's going to be a problem for the church trying to defend itself against all its transgressions when this thing starts taking over.